Meeting is called to order. Meeting is called to order. It's 12:17. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Foster City. We are the club that cooks, and our secret sauce is you, our members, your teamwork and friendship. For the pledge, Alison Proctor. We do not have Alison Proctor, so Jamie, will you lead us in the pledge?
I haven't practiced. But if you please stand and put your hand over your heart and repeat with me, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And thought for the day is Patricia Nutting.
She contacted me and asked me to do it for her.
Okay, thank you.
So I have three brief thoughts, all of them by one of my favorite thinkers and scientists, Albert Einstein. The first one says, logic will get you from A to Z. Imagination will get you everywhere. Life is like riding a bicycle. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And thirdly, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much. So now if everybody on Zoom can make sure you are muted. And if there is a sound from you on Zoom, if you are not meaning to speak, can you do that? $5 penalty for that. Okay. Do we have with guests and visiting Rotarian. Dan Feng, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, my name is Dan Feng Yao. So I'm a Foster City resident for over 12 years, and I live in Foster City with husband and 2 children and a rabbit. So yeah, well, as I said, we attended so many activities, events organized or sponsored by Rotary Club, you know, name it, so many, like July 4th pancake. We go to the pancake event, you know, almost every year, you know, except for pandemic time. But this year we are back. You are back. Yeah, great to see you guys.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
And thank you for your continued support and your enthusiasm. Love it. Thank you.
Yes. You know, this year, you know, my daughter, you know, she joined Scouts 4-7. You know, it's actually it's girl troop under Scouts 47. You know, and she excited about that. She told me, you know, Rotary Club sponsors our Scouts, our troop. And she also get opportunity to serve, to help for the pancake event on July 4th.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's why I'm so interested. Yeah, I'm impressed by all the work you guys have done. You know, including summer concerts, right? You know, this year again. Exciting.
Yes, thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
We welcome you.
Yeah.
We're excited that you are amongst us today. Anybody else? Keith is our speaker today.
Keith is a visiting Rotarian, so maybe Keith can just introduce himself and tell us what club he's from.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here. I'm from the Rotary Club of Marin Evening in Marin County.
Welcome, Keith.
My classification is community development.
Thank you. So next is birthdays. We have Jeff Rosen's birthday on September 14th. Happy birthday, Jeff Rosen. I don't see him on my screen here. And the next birthday that we have is, let me share this, if you will bear with me, this wonderful person. Can anybody guess who this is? No? You've known him for a long, long time, and his wife is in Rotary too. Okay, it's Paul Williams. So happy birthday to Paul Williams. September 15th is his birthday. And wedding anniversaries, we have Bob and Laura Kaplan, 19 years together. Congratulations. Would you like to share something about that?
Best decision I ever made. And I remember how many years it is, so I'm doing well today.
Wonderful. So, and then next wedding anniversary I have here, and if you will just again, sorry, I'm a bit slow with the screen share. And where is it? Okay, yeah. Can anyone tell who this person is?
The Carps.
Yes, yes. It is their 30th wedding anniversary, Ron and Robin Karp, and he sent me a message. He said, our past district governor, club president, and dear friend John Grant was one of my groomsmen at the wedding. And what wedding gift did John give us? He said a champagne bucket that we talk about John every time we use it. So 30th wedding anniversary. And we don't have any Rotary anniversaries today. Anyone has good news to share? Yes, Greg?
Well, yesterday I attended the second Interact meeting of the year. The first one was for ice cream, so we don't get much done that day other than to give a spiel about Interact and hand out ice cream. Yesterday we had about a dozen kids in the room, which was very, very low for us, but they were all very, very enthusiastic. And it was a meeting, it was very full of life, and it gave me a lot of hope because I haven't seen that coming from the Interact kids in about 2.5 years due to the pandemic. It really hits the high school kids hard. And then while we were having our meeting, one of the teachers brought in what they call a tour. It was a new student, and she looked very scared, and she was from the Ukraine. So I've been trying to find a student from the Ukraine, and while we were there yesterday, one just dropped on us. So that was really good. We made a big fuss over her and said, you've got to come here. Give us some ideas of what you need, and we're going to make some projects out of this. And in return, I'm going to give you 20 friends right away. So we had a really good meeting. Then I'm going to put a bookmark there and move to my next subject. Was we have not been having real good communications with the Yurok tribe. I think they've kind of gotten what they need, and they've kind of gone silent on us. So I started making calls around, and over the last week, I've made contact with the Hoopa tribe, which is kind of next door to the reservation of the Yurok. And I called them, and they said, wow, God, what great timing. We've been talking about putting a playground in our campground right here in town. And, you know, this is wonderful. And they always kind of look at you with a gilded eye that, why are you doing this? Why are you bringing out such a nice gift for free? And so I explained to them that we get as much out of it as they do with both for our Rotary Club and our kids. So I had a good day yesterday through Interact in Playground. So that's my story. I hope the rest of the week goes as well. Oh, and Shiraz, make
Yes.
one note. On the 11th of September was Gigi's and my anniversary.
Oh, sorry about that. Missed that.
More good news that she's put up with me for another year.
Wishing you both a very happy wedding anniversary. Gigi is here too. Congratulations. Okay. Thank you. I mean, that is really wonderful news, Greg. And Noemi mentioned this to some of it in the board meeting last night. So we look forward to, hopefully we can go there in this spring break upcoming. Anybody else has good news? You know, you can do in reactions, you can raise your hand, and that way you will come on the front screen. If you go to reactions and you raise, like Cindy has done. Thank you, Cindy.
So Mike, I think this is good news. It's secondhand good news. And Greg and Gigi would know, but did I hear the rumor correctly that the Cool and the Gang actually beat the Summon-a-Botchies last week? I can't, Greg, you're muted.
Yeah, I
Yes,
can.
that
I can
is
confirm
correct.
it.
It was the week before, but the victory is still sweet.
Wow, congratulations. That's
It was an epic victory and well earned, well deserved. But we'll meet you on the court later.
Wonderful. Bob Kaplan, what is your good news?
Yeah, to celebrate our 19th wedding anniversary, we're going back to Ashland where we went on our honeymoon to the Shakespeare Festival, including tomorrow night. I'll be in Redding, California.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Okay. I'm just swiping down the screen. So if I don't miss anybody's raised hand, unless you do the virtual, the icon, the emoji thing, raised hands, I don't see you otherwise. Okay. So let's go to announcements. Oh, is it real? Are you raising your hand or just waving a fly? Okay.
Bob, are you unclear of the concept? It was good news. You said you were going to Reading.
I'll send pictures.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So now going to announcements. Bob Kaplan for your TRF announcement.
Thank you, President Shiraz. This month in Rotary, first of all, if anybody doesn't know, I'm the Rotary Foundation Chair this year. Big shoes to fill with Mike Hoffman, who looks very relaxed right now, I might say. And I don't wear hats. I just let my hair speak for myself. This year in Rotary is basic education and literacy. So I was looking for something to talk about regarding literacy and Rotary. As you know, the money that you donate to the Rotary Foundation goes to help people around the world, and this is just an example. And you've got to help me with this, Shiraz, if my pronunciation is bad. In Chennai, India, Rotary President Jennifer Jones inaugurated in just a couple of hours a bunch of education projects that range from providing basic infrastructure to schools and sophisticated e-learning projects involving smart classrooms, interactive panels, and slick technology. One of the projects was Guru Cool. It doesn't have anything to do with Greg, I guess. The details in India, according to government sources, 150 million children are out of school, but even more worrisome is the fact that nearly 1/3 of the enrolled children drop out before completing elementary school. They imagine in India where every child gets to go to school and remain there in order to further their education. Gurukul is a play on the traditional Indian term for a place of learning, Gurukul. Okay. The focus area of the project launched by the 100-member club was literacy and basic education. So as you know, when you're Rotary International President, you travel all over the world. If in the post-COVID world, and here was Jennifer Jones in India. It looks like it's on the southeastern part of India. For every $25 that you give to the Rotary Foundation, not only do you get the good feelings of helping people around the world, but you get a ticket towards our annual TRF event, which is going to be on November 19th. You can give me a check made out to the Rotary Foundation. If you do Rotary Direct, I'll find out about it. I prepare a ticket for every single $25 donation, a separate ticket. It'd be nice to have a few people in our club win the one of the prizes, including a grand prize of $2,000 in Visa gift cards. If you have any questions about TRF, let me know. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. And it's not related, I was not planning to talk about it, but our global grant is going to be working with India on literacy in the same rural villages and, the whole literacy issue, kids dropping out of school. We are supporting middle and high school education. So, but it's still in the preliminary phase. Next time at the next meeting, hopefully we'll have something more concrete to share with all of you. Next announcement is our Assistant District Governor, Mark Watson.
Hey, I wanted to let everybody know about a few events that are coming up. First one is Walk in Their Shoes, which is an important project for our District Governor, Gary Chow. It's on Sunday, October 23rd from 11 to 4 p.m. It's for Rotarians and their families in the Bay Area, but any interested community members can come. The goals of the event are to create a positive environment for attendees to interact, learn about polio, our successes and our challenges. It's the group's desire that participants leave empowered to make a difference in their communities. They also want to encourage supporting Rotary's Polio Plus program and teach attendees about post-polio syndrome and what they can do to help polio survivors who experience rapid muscular weakness and find support for this problem, and to advocate for the increased accessibility for people with disabilities. And they want to promote routine vaccinations of all appropriate diseases for both children to maintain herd immunity. It'll be at Lander Hall at Toro University, California Medical School, which is in Vallejo, and there'll be plenty of parking. The next program I wanted to talk about is important to our past district governor and club member, Mary Bates, and that's Empowering Girls and Women's Initiatives. Mary is coordinating the program for the district, so thank you, Mary. This initiative was started by past RI President Maida and is being continued by Jennifer Jones. So this program, it focuses on health, education, or economic independence, and it's meant to empower girls, young women, and women. Although much of the need is in developing countries, there's also a need to do that right here at home. So District 5150 will give up to $200 to club to implement a program that empowers women or girls in our local communities. So you need to get the program started by October 1st, 2022. I can send out the criteria for the grant, but it's something that maybe our club wants to do as a program, since there are certainly a lot of women in our community that could use a helping hand. The last one is the District 5150 Club Project Showcase, and that'll be on Saturday, November 19th from 1 to 4 p.m. And it'll be at the Jonas Community Center at the College of Marin in Indio Valley College, Novato. The cost is $25, which just covers the cost for food. Food's going to be heavy hors d'oeuvres. It'll be vegan and vegan hors d'oeuvres and vegan desserts to emphasize the reduction of greenhouse emissions in our area. There'll be wine tasting, and they have a liquor license to cover the event, so there'll be that as well. Clubs can present past successes and future project initiatives that need DDF funding, or just to let people know about your past success. So we could do a project on the UROC project, or our global grant that we did in India, things like that. Or you can just go to learn about what other clubs are doing with their projects as well. But it'll give everyone an idea about where our donations to the Rotary Foundations go and what they're used for. So I think it'd be something that we might want to take up, but even if not, then it's definitely something that we might want to do. Just go there to learn about what other clubs are doing. So thank you, Shiraz. And anybody has any information, just let me know, and I'll be glad to get you some more information on it.
Thank you, Mark. We also have a request from Half Moon Bay Rotary Club. They have a pumpkin festival on October 15th, 16th. They are looking for help for people to sell clam chowder bowls. So if anybody is interested in that. And the hepatitis B drive, which is being done by the Daly City Rotary Club, they are looking for phlebotomists, that is registered licensed nurses who can draw blood, for their September 25th event. So if you know anybody who wants to volunteer as a nurse, then they can go there. I can, we will have contact information in our bulletin. So just look out for the bulletin. All the contact info will be inside. I don't see Teresa Pope. In case I missed Teresa Pope, are you here? Nope, she is not here. So she was going to make an announcement for September 20th. Rotary Means Business at Waterfront Pizza, 5:30 to 7 p.m. She said, we currently have 20 RSVPs. We would like more. Please join us and guests are welcome. It's only $15 and you will be served pizza and salad with a no host bar. So that's that. And now I'm going to come to the favorite topic, which is Crown Plaza food. Somebody asked me in the beginning, Jim, and then I said, we'll do it later on. So I had a meeting with the Crown, with Andre and Mariella. This is the new leadership. And basically, they have said that they have taken a lot of losses through Rotary over the years, but they had different events which they could kind of even out, and they didn't mind supporting Rotary then. But now they said with other events not there to cover the losses, they cannot manage it anymore. So the price as of 1st October is, for what we have currently, minimum 35 people, is $47.46. It's good you're all seated here. So that's what it is, $47.46. So we went back and forth a lot, negotiated with them for a long time. And finally I said, okay, what about just a small salad and a sandwich, just a basic. So they sent me that yesterday, just a basic small salad, and in a box, a sandwich and either a cookie or a brownie, and with either a soda or a coffee is $37. Okay, so with that information, last night we had the board meeting and the board unanimously voted that September 28th, unfortunately, will be our last meeting at the Crown Plaza, because these prices, I don't think any of the members here are willing to go from $30 to $37 or $47. The $37 is just a basic little sandwich in a box. So the board voted unanimously that we will move out. 28th September, which is the candidates forum, will be our last meeting, unfortunately, there. And we will have to look into how we will move our equipment. Linda, Grant, Diana, Jamie, myself, we are looking at different options. We will start first with, the rec center, and maybe part 3, we are negotiating over there too. If any of you have contacts with caterers who can come and cater at the rec center, send Linda, myself, Jamie, and Diana an email, and we can take it on from there. So if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. So then you come right in the front of that, and then you can ask a question or start talking in the computer screen, and Zoom will automatically bring you up front. Go to reactions and you will see raise hand over there at the bottom of the screen. Yes, Rel?
Was there any discussion as to whether or not you're going to have, say, alternate meetings or have Zoom meetings only, that sort of thing?
No, see, if we don't settle on a venue, and if we don't, we have the rec center. If we don't, then for some time we may be Zoom only, but I don't think so. I think we should be able to move within the next 2 weeks to the rec center. Thanks to Curtis. Curtis, during his year, tested some of the rec center. We had some meetings there. So we do have some experience managing that. We're just now looking for good caterers for that place. So ideally, we won't be Zoom only. Hopefully not. Anybody else? No, let me see screen too if anybody's waving hands. No, okay. Oh, Jim, yes, Jim. You're muted, Jim, you're muted.
Have you looked into having Safeway or Lucky's cater sandwiches?
We will. If you want to take a lead on that and let us know the prices, that'll be good.
Okay.
And then that will save Linda and time to call. But yeah, if you know someplace and you think they have good food and they could do that, it'd be great if you could just check with them. For 35 people, we give you a, maybe a month's contract or a year's, what can you do for us? And then you can just send us the numbers. That would be very helpful. Any other questions? Okay. Okay, none? So that's that. And I'm sorry, I know we really wanted Crown and Crown doesn't want us, looks like. So that was the general consensus. They were just not ready to negotiate on anything. The other thing I wanted to say also was that they had raised the rate from, what was that? August and September, $30 from $28. So August and September was $30 and they refused to even back down on that price. And then October 1st is the new price. That's the Crown, and look forward to emails from us on the new venues. And also we look forward to getting ideas and feedback from you if you have good vendors. The other thing was the Zoom fees. We all, last time at the club assembly, everybody unanimously, I think, raised their hands for the $5 Zoom fee. And last night as the board, we also voted that in unanimously, that every Zoom meeting is $5 a person, effective the last meeting when we voted it in, that is September 7th. And Diana is keeping a list of it. And every month you can send your payment to Debbie for that. And with that, also, there is a $20 technology fee, which I know some of you initially didn't want to pay that. That was a feedback I got. We don't want to pay technology fee because why are we covering from Zoom if Zoom is not being charged? So now Zoom is being charged and we are all paying a technology fee. So $20. Any questions? No? Okay, let me go to screen 2 in case somebody is waving their hand there. No? Okay. You all a very quiet group today. And I think that is about it from my side. What I can do, I know there is fellowship is really difficult in this. We have, let's go. Is Keith ready to do the presentation if we do it sooner? Okay.
I believe so. Did he say yes?
Okay, so we can do that, then we can end the meeting early. So Cindy, will you please introduce Keith?
You bet, I'm glad to. Keith Axtell is a longtime member of the Rotary Club of Marin Evening, and he's our speaker today. He'll be speaking about 3 Rotary Foundation global grant projects that his club has sponsored. Since 2014, Marin Evening has sponsored 11 global grant projects for a total value of $939,380. So they've had almost $1 million worth of projects, global grant projects that they have sponsored throughout the world. And so we heard Bob Kaplan talk a little bit earlier about where our money goes and when we donate to the Rotary Foundation, and part of it comes back to us as DDF. And part of it stays at Rotary International to be matched. And so Keith will tell us about 3 projects that his club has participated in recently. And he's given me little highlights to tell you to kind of warm you up for his presentation. So he said in the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, Marin Evening sponsored a project with the Rotary Club of Guayaquil Norte, which was to provide protective masks and uniforms for doctors and nurses in 37 hospitals and medical centers.
Excuse me, Cindy.
Oh, yes.
If you proceed, I won't need to give my
Oh,
presentation.
then never mind. I won't do those highlights. So
Yeah, that was
on
a
that
summary.
note, well, before I turn over to Keith, one last thing, and that is to tell our members that Keith this year is also our Rotary 5150 Global Grants Coordinator, which means that he helps Rotary clubs write global grants and answers questions. And he is working with President Shiraz right now on the global grant project that she talked about earlier. So with that note, Keith Axtell.
Well, thank you very much. Cindy was reading a write-up that I did at Shiraz's request as a summary of my presentation. So I have some surprises built in, and I didn't want you to spring them early. But it's a pleasure to be here. Our club has been very active in global grant projects, and that has been primarily because of the support from other Rotary clubs in our district and other districts, but clubs such as yours. And one of these three projects is a club that a project that your club participated in, and it's a co-sponsor. And when we get to that, I want to tell you more about it. But I'm going to share my presentation here so we can provide you with some of these highlights. Give me just a moment. Here we go. Cindy's indicated that we've been very active in the Global Grant Program, as we were in the Matcha Grant Program before the Global Grant Program began. We started working in Ecuador in 2003. So it's been an almost 20-year run there. We found the Rotarians very good to work with, easy to work with in most cases, and very committed to helping their poor people. So we were just very attracted to want to try to assist them because there are some tremendous needs in that country. So our global grant projects have been in 4 areas of focus. Microcredit and community development has been our major area. That's been my primary interest, particularly in microcredit and helping very low income people improve their lives. Water and sanitation is a huge need everywhere, and we've done both water projects and a sewer treatment plant for about a community school and orphanage of about 1,200 people. Teacher training in STEM and the COVID-19 project. Some of you may not be familiar with the Rotary Foundation Global Grant Program, so let me just give you a quick overview. It's grants from the foundation to support Rotary Club service projects. And it's really a Rotarians helping Rotarians. The source is our contributions to the Rotary Foundation. And this is a matching program. So the clubs and districts provide funds for the projects, and then the foundation matches them on a certain formula. These are for larger, sustainable projects that are meant to make an impact, create permanent change in the areas where we're trying to help. Projects over $30,000 within the area of focus is determined by the Rotary Foundation, but they're very broad. Most of what you want to do are included in those 7 areas of focus. And it's a project with 2 Rotary clubs, including a club in the country where the work is being carried out. And that's a very unique model in Rotary in terms of international humanitarian service. And it's really led to great success for this program, but also a lot of relationships between people in different countries working together to help improve conditions in places where it's badly needed. So first, I'd like to tell you about our COVID-19 Action Project. It's a real Rotary success story, and I'm very proud of it. Demonstrates how generous Rotarians can be in our country, how effective and responsive and resourceful the Rotarians in Ecuador are, and the impact of our Rotary Foundation program. This was just at the beginning of the pandemic. In April, end of April 2020, I received a communication from an acquaintance in Guayaquil saying that they were just being devastated with the pandemic. A lot of their youth had been in school in Italy, in the university, and when Italy closed the universities, they all came back to Ecuador and brought COVID with them. And so it was called the Wuhan of Latin America for a while. They lost 1,300 of their medical personnel to COVID because they just did not have any kind of protective equipment. So they were asking our help with a $30,000 global grant project to buy PPE for the hospitals, 4 hospitals in Guayaquil. Guayaquil is their largest city. So in 3 days, our club board agreed to sponsor this project. It just sounded critical, urgent. We wanted to do what we could. We were able to raise the funds and complete the application by June 9th and get that in. And we had to answer some questions from the Rotary Foundation, but by July 13th, we were fully approved and ready to go. But the project changed as we went through the fundraising process and the implementation process. Because of the generosity, we raised $71,050 for the project, not the $30,000 the club wanted. That allowed us to expand beyond the boundaries of Guayaquil. But then in addition to that, in addition to having over twice the PPE we could buy, the Guayaquil Norte Club negotiated with the manufacturer, who luckily happened to be in Ecuador, in Quito, and they got a volume discount because they were going to be purchased so many. And they also got a further discount because they could put half the cost in cash up front. So rather than 20,000 masks, we were able to purchase 172,000 masks. And we were able to also get almost 5,000 protective uniforms, which was enough for hundreds and hundreds of doctors, nurses, and other people dealing with COVID patients. So that allowed this project to expand to cover most of the country of Ecuador. So the Guayaquil Norte Club enlisted the help of 16 other Rotary clubs and 2 Rotaract clubs to go to their community hospitals, clinics, and find out what kind of PPE they needed. And this was done before the global grant was approved because they could see what the financing was coming out to be. We were able to provide equipment to 37 hospitals and medical centers throughout most of Ecuador, which was totally incredible. We received 13 provinces, including the Galapagos, and around 250 Rotary volunteers and Rotaract volunteers helped with this distribution. Just an amazing effort. It got that PPE out in August to these hospitals so that they could start protecting their medical people immediately. It was an urgent effort and it went very, very well. So this was the map of Ecuador. The PPE was produced in Quito area, and our distribution was basically throughout this whole area. They're down to Machala, through here, all up the coast, clear up to Esmeraldas, and also over to Galapagos. So you can see we covered, and this all is Amazon, is very lightly populated. So we hit almost all the major cities in Ecuador. So here we have boxes of PPE that were sent to Guayaquil for distribution by the Rotary clubs there. This is the uniform that was provided for the medical personnel. And here's some of the distribution of some of the Rotary clubs. This is central coastal area, Quito, and down in the south of the country. They enlisted their Marine Scouts in helping with the distribution. This is a distribution to 2 hospitals in the Galapagos. And then I've showed this because at every distribution place, they put up this sign, which shows all the donors to the project. And had the Rotarian sign, had the beneficiary sign, receiving the quantity of PPE that they were receiving. So We've been really, really pleased. This project came up after our district DDF had all been spent. So this was totally based on cash contributions from clubs and from individual Rotarians. Now let me move on to the project that your club helped us with, and we were really pleased to have the assistance because we were able to move this along fairly quickly. My club really believes in helping low-income people help themselves through providing skills and employment opportunities through helping them set up their own small businesses. And in this case, we wanted to teach them to make something that they can make and sell and improve their lives. And in this case, also, we were working with assisting business associations or partnerships, 2 or more people involved in these businesses, not just individual sole proprietors. This was a global grant project on the southern coast of Ecuador. Our partner club was Salinas Spondias. The operating agency, which we need in a microcredit project, was Hogar de Cristo. And Hogar de Cristo is an organization I've worked with microcredit since about 2005. And very reliable organization. They provided the training and also the loan management that we needed. But we also had partners with the city and the county, the province, who helped with providing space and help with some of the training, particularly technical training in digital marketing. There were 4 phases of this project. First, the participants were trained in business, basically, business planning, business development, how to price, how to market, things of that nature. Then they received training in some kind of a vocational skill. I'll show you some in just a few minutes. When they completed that, then they could receive loans to help set up their businesses. And then they received business mentoring and advice on improving their businesses once they were up and running. This is from one of the workshops that we're going through pricing and training the participants on kind of the financial side of running a business. It was our first graduating class. You can see this was September 2021. You can see how excited they are and all the Rotary banners in the back. This just had tremendous support from the Salinas Spondias Rotary Club and also from the university. These young people up in front were students at the university that were assisting with the program as well. Here's a culinary class teaching people in culinary arts, gastronomy. Here's a sewing class. You can see some of the products they produced and their graduation ceremonies as a result of their learning sewing skills. This is my partner, Roberto, who I work with. Roberto does not speak English, so our in-chart project was done in Spanish. And I don't speak Spanish much, so a lot of fun with Google Translate. They had a doll making workshop, also a purse making, shoe making, sandal making workshop here. And then we've just about wrapped up, we have wrapped up the training phase of this. Instead of 100 people, we've trained 187 people. And all those people received at least one type of vocational training. Some of them received more than one type of vocational training. And a wide variety of types of things we trained them in, including making dolls, I said, and handbags and beauty shop. We've now provided 74 loans, totaling almost $32,000 to 27 businesses that are now up and running and being assisted. And we've held 2 entrepreneurial fairs in Salinas on the waterfront, wide boardwalk along the waterfront. A number of businesses participated, were trained, but have not needed microcredit loans. So we had a number of them participating in these fairs so they could highlight their businesses and start making some sales. Here's a very poor photo of the fair. Here's some of the businesses that you've helped with your contribution to this project. These young ladies are making some kind of pastry products here and selling them. This gentleman is selling shoes. May have made some himself, I'm not sure, but at least he's certainly selling them. Oh, I wanted to tell you about this T-shirt. Our participants all got their own T-shirt in this program. The name of our project was Impedimientos Peninsulares. And down below this, you'll see financed by the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. I really thought that was pretty neat. Here's another man that has some kind of food products he's selling that we assisted. These ladies are making some pretty cool dolls and stuffed animals. I'm sure they're going to do well with their little business. And this lady is making furniture and selling it. So, and another group that's making some kind of lotions and various types of odors or aromas. So that's the project you assisted us with. It's turned out to be highly successful. And so the training, both the vocational training and the business training is completed. We're now in the mentoring stage and finishing up the ongoing microcredit program. We'll close out the global grant after the loan funds are loaned out twice, but the funds are committed to staying with Jorge de Cristo and assisting the same group of people or people in the same economic situations for as long as those funds last. And our repayment rate has been very high, so we expect them to be there assisting people for many, many years. Now, my third and last project is actually more of a program than a project. I want to take you from Guayaquil, we were just talking about our program down here, up to the Esmeraldas province, which is up right on the Colombian border. This is the poorest province in Ecuador, and we started working there in 2008. It's primarily agricultural, animal raising, cacao, and fisheries are fairly big there. The microcredit organization we were working with in Quito encouraged us to start working down up here because they had no banks, no microfinance organizations at all. No one was helping them. And it was predominantly African Ecuadorian because a slave ship ran aground there a few centuries ago. And the people escaped and settled in and have made a life there for many generations. Here's an example of the very basic fishing industry they have. It's they do bring in some fish, but it's not at a very high level of fisheries. Say we've been working there since 2008. We've had 4 projects through the Rotary Foundation, 2 matching grants, and then 2 global grants to assist this area for a total investment from Rotary of around $360,000. And we were there specifically to try to help very low-income people, which is easy to do in this area because when we started, about 95% of the population were living below the level of extreme poverty. Very, very, very poor area. We provided loans, but we also set up a Rotary training center and provided business training and vocational training. And we followed the Grameen model of group lending in this situation. And that's lending to a group of people, basically called a credit group, rather than making individual loans or loans to small partnerships. And this is one of the credit groups we visited on the coast. The men here are mainly fishermen. The women have some of them small shops, some have small restaurants, others deal in buying and selling fish. They have a president and a treasurer, and they actually make the decisions themselves among how much of a loan within limits, how much of a loan each individual will receive. And they're careful about that because if that person doesn't pay off the loan, then the entire group has to repay that loan. And then our loan fund comes to the entire credit group. And you can see this is a high-spirited group down in this area. They all have their own golf shirts. And some of them we've heard even operate like little Rotary clubs. They will go out and do some community service work in their communities as well. It's been a very successful model because of the built-in incentive, and they tend to support each other's businesses because they want to see them succeed. Just some success stories here. We visited this woman who was making sewing things out of her home with a foot-operated manual sewing machine when our program started. She was able to get a small loan, buy an electric sewing machine, pay that off, got another machine. Now she has her own shop, no longer working out of her home. She has 4 machines that will do various things for sewing, and a whole supply of fabric that's behind me, behind where this picture was taken. And very, very happy with her success in that regard. This woman started a small pharmacy in her home, and now she has her own storefront pharmacy. And you can tell it's pretty well supplied. And she told us that with the proceeds, she's not only now got her own store, but she's also been able to send her daughter to the university, to college. These are the kind of things we love to hear, to see that after a series of loans, people are willing to work hard to build their businesses and succeed and create a generational change in poverty by being able to send their children to school. And here's another success story. They also were able to send their children to the university. Rosia, when she started, really didn't have anything at all. But her husband at one point had worked in a bakery. So they were able to buy an oven, small oven, with their first loan and started baking things and selling them. And it became popular. So she was able to get a larger loan, buy a larger oven. And now she has her own storefront as well and is producing, she and her husband working together in this business and producing some very nice things that she sells throughout her whole community here. And she can tell from the smile on her face, she's very happy with what she and her husband have done, and they couldn't have done it without our help. So, we're really changing people's lives, and that's what this story and this presentation is really all about. This happy family is making and selling cacao products here, and these are cacao beans over here on the side in display. As part of our project, we purchased 3 industrial-sized sewing machines, and through the years from 2008 to about 2017, we taught several hundred people sewing skills. And so we spread a sewing industry throughout this whole region in Ecuador, with people with skills that they could take them back to their communities and make and sell things to their neighbors in their local communities. And here's some examples of some of the things that they've made in their sewing workshops. They actually took a 210-hour program that was certified by the government of Ecuador, so that they had a certification of being skilled tailors and sewing experts when they were completed. We also bought an oven, so they're able to provide training in baking, pastry making. This is my partner, Gloria, who's become a really, really close friend. Quito, the sponsoring Rotary Club was in Quito, and they would come down and do business training. They provide an 8-hour business training class to our recipients over weekends during the program. They trained over 300 people, taking this 6-hour drive from Quito to this area, and then stayed overnight in some very, very basic hotels that most of us probably would not care to want to stay in. But they were very committed, a real example of service above self. So we had gastronomy classes. As I mentioned earlier, a number of the the people had their own small restaurants. One of the communities was kind of a resort area for people from Quito to come to the beach, spend some time. So their whole string of restaurants along there for them to eat. And we're really proud of the accomplishments we made in this program. We were able to provide loans to over 500 small businesses and vocational training to over 1,000 people. And it was a wide range of types of training we provided. I mentioned the sewing and the gastronomy, but we also provided training in beauty shop operations. For the young men, we did some electrical training and plumbing training and some building training in building to help people build new houses, a number of other crafts and arts type of training. And one of our greatest accomplishments, I think, was creating a cooperative among the business people that were receiving loans from this program. So at partway through the program, they started taking over the loan program themselves and operating it, and they incorporated under the laws of Ecuador. And by doing that, the businesses were able to put their savings into this cooperative. So they built larger loan capital to provide more opportunity for more people in their area by having a larger base of loans. And by the time our program wrapped up in about 2019, they had about $1 million in loan capital in their program that was circulating and continuing to provide loans to low-income people in that area. So that's my story. I'm sticking with it. And I'd be very happy to answer any questions.
Yes. Keith? Oops.
Yes.
Mike Hoffman here. I just did a little penciling out of the 74 loans that you put out. These averaged $425 a piece. Just putting that on a scale of loans here in the United States, that is very small, but it is very significant in the market that you're going into. You mentioned the loans are put out, they're paid back. I'm thinking that one of the things that you've probably taught the participants is you're giving them a course in economics and buying and selling and lending and paying back. So this is all great news, and thank you for sharing this.
Well, the nice thing is that it works.
Yeah.
And we do start small. Some of them and some of the programs will start with loans at $100, $150, $200, just enough to buy a sewing machine or something like that. But when people pay off the loan, then they have the opportunity to get another loan. And that's one of the incentives to pay it off, because then you can qualify for a larger loan. And the examples I showed you of the sewing business, and particularly the bakery, those people qualified for loans up to $1,000 after they had paid off smaller loans. But that would take 3 or 4 loan cycles, but they needed that amount to really get their business up and running. And so we kind of build that into the program.
What's the interest rate, by the way?
Well, the interest rate is runs generally, and it's high in this program, between 15 and 25%.
Oh.
Because the operating agency that manages a program has to have some income to provide for their staff, basically. It's a cost-intensive program, but when people make their payments every week or every other week, we found that it really works. It works quite successfully. Greg, you're on mute there.
Keith, what's the success ratio on these small loans?
Well, it's in most cases, it's been very good. When we started working in the Esmeraldas province area, first project we have was a small global grant project, small matching grant project, and the loan payoff rate was 100%.
Wow.
Now, some of the loans admittedly were a little slow being paid off, but the finance agency kept working with them, and every single penny was paid off. Our experience down there was in the around the 98-99% payoff rate in that area. We've had a little more difficulty around Guayaquil. It seems to be more successful in rural areas for some reason than in urban areas. But Guayaquil, just after we finished a program in 2007, they had a big flood. And a number of the businesses we'd helped set up were damaged and people lost their products, things of that nature. And they're still working on paying them off, but it's, things intervene, such as deaths in the family or natural events that cause problems. But this program in Esmeraldas has been quite successful, and looking like the one I just told you about that your club participated in is going to be as well, the way it's going with the partnerships and the quality of participants that we have in it.
Rel had a question.
Okay. Go ahead. Rel?
You call on me. All right. Yeah, on your third slide, you mentioned something to the effect that 2 different countries had to be sponsored or associated or however. How did that work? For instance, with Ecuador, did you have a partner country? What's the process there? Did you run into any unique challenges in doing that?
Yes. The partnership arrangement actually started in the 1950s, and I believe the Rotary Foundation started it as a way to build relationships between people in different countries. It's part of the kind of the United Nations effort. I think it wasn't so much meant as a humanitarian initiative at that time as getting people working together to build understanding. Ecuador had a project fair back in 2003, which was where they basically bring in projects from the clubs in their district, their country, and show them off to people that come in from other countries to arrange the partnerships. And my wife had just become designate as district governor for our district. She was district governor in 2005, 2006. And she wanted to find some place that she could encourage Rotary clubs. She wanted to build the international service in our district. So she wanted to find some place where it turned out where I could do a project and other clubs, if they wanted to, could participate in it, help sponsor it. And this project fair came up. And so 7 of us from our district went down to attend it. And we were just blown away by how much the Rotary clubs there were doing already on their own, with their own resources. They built and were managing a 60-person nursing home. They were running schools. They were just doing amazing things that most of our clubs here aren't able to do, or don't have to do, because we have so many nonprofit organizations, which they don't have in Ecuador. So we found that there were so many needs, we just wanted to help them. We liked the people, and that's how we got started. So there are a number of projects, fairs now every year where clubs can attend virtually or in person and learn about projects or other sources as well. But it does take that connection to get started.
Cindy?
Gosh, a couple months ago or so, Greg Cool asked our club if we were interested in helping out with a project in Ukraine of some sort. And then you heard today that he said he actually, lo and behold, met a Ukrainian student at our high school. And so I'm wondering, Keith, because Keith, you and I have had some conversations about maybe a project with Ukraine at a global grant level. How would we go about doing that if Greg wanted to be a part of something like that with a Ukrainian club in a global grant at this time?
Well, we have to find out to begin with the position of the Rotary Foundation on that, because there have been times when they have been reluctant to provide global grant funding in conflict areas. And it may just depend on their read on how things stand in Ukraine at this point, whether they will or not. Secondly, then it would take locating a club that would be interested in Ukraine or in another country like Poland or Hungary that would, if you want to assist refugees from Ukraine. So this would kind of depend on the circumstance. At this point, up and through the end of December, the Ukrainian clubs have grant funds available through the Rotary Foundation in the Disaster Release Fund. So I expect they're focusing on that, but after that, particularly there may be needs for help with rebuilding. And economic development could be a great way to assist them, but also they're going to need help, I'm sure, with restoring hospitals and restoring schools and a wide variety of things. So the long pull, assuming that the war somehow gets settled or gets minimized so that there's some stability, in the major part of Ukraine, then there's certainly a lot that could be done to help that country. And we do have one club in our district that's worked with clubs in Ukraine in the past. That's the Novato Rotary Club. Whether they still have current contacts, I don't know, but I do know that they've raised funds and they're providing support through clubs in Poland to try to assist refugees there.
Yeah.
Mike?
Question, Keith, just a follow-on question to Rel's. When you mentioned the two countries, I wanted to clarify that two countries could be the United States and Ecuador. You don't have to have a third country in there. So it's, I mean, you could have a third country in, but it can be just between the two countries. Is that correct?
Just the two countries, yes. What's called a host club in the country where the project's being carried out, and an international partner that mainly helps with project planning, but a lot of the financing would come from the international partner. And that can work anywhere in the world. It's not just from the United States. It's, Brazil to Peru, or South Africa to India, any connection to two countries. Another question?
We just have 1 minute. Bob?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
So my question is this: as a result of this highly successful project from Rotary, did either the government or any other organizations follow through in Ecuador with similar projects?
This is not something that the government itself does, although you noticed there's a lot of interest on the part of the city of Salinas and the province of Santa Elena in supporting this project. They were really promoting it, helping us with outreach. Said we had around 500 applicants to participate in this program, but they would not be giving loans themselves. But there are a number of microfinance organizations working in Ecuador, and they regulate them to be sure that they are working honorably and not taking advantage of people unfairly. There is another project that's just coming online. It's been recommended by the San Rafael Rotary Club. It's a project dealing with domestic violence in Ecuador. There's a tremendous problem with historic domestic violence and attitudes toward women. And it's going to be a very major training program in 40 schools. Global applications now been submitted, but they worked it out with the Ministry of Education in Ecuador. And they have a commitment that if it is successful, the ministry will expand this training program. It's a training program for teachers and for the students to all the schools in Ecuador. So that is an example of the kind of impact we can have when it's a meaningful program.
Thank you. Thank you, Keith. That was actually, I'm so glad we partnered with you. And I think we also did the orphanage project in Ecuador. We'd given a small part of our DDF for that before.
Yes. Yes, you did. I appreciate that so very much.
So, I mean, it's just so heartwarming and amazing to see the impact you have, especially the PPE. When you did it so fast, you saved like thousands of lives with just that project. So thank you very much for doing this. So as our speaker, yeah, everybody's clapping and everybody is, I think, so comforted by this that I see Craig, who used to be our police chief, is so happy, at peace that the world is taken care of by you guys. He's fallen asleep here, you see. He's like, my job is done. Rotary is doing such wonderful.
Nice to know.
Anyway, so our speaker gift is in honor of all our speakers, and thank you to you for coming, taking the time to speak to us, is we donate to the TRF and in honor of every speaker. So we will be doing that, and we will send you a certificate along with a picture of our key project, which is, as you heard in the beginning, the playgrounds that we take from older playgrounds. We work with our high school Interact kids and we fix it and we put it into, we were doing it at UROC, and now hopefully we will do it at the other Hooper tribe. So you will get that in the mail from us. Thank you very much, Keith.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so for the pledge, I thank Jamie for stepping up last minute without practice doing that. Thought for the day, Noemi Avram. Thank you very much. Minutes is Anne Ritzma. And next week we are dark because we have a social on September 22nd. Please do look out for your emails. Pam, Priscilla, or Anne Ritzma will be sending it to you. So it will be in the evening, a social on September 22nd. I will not be there. I will be thinking about you guys from a beach in Puerto Vallarta. So,
And where is it? Where is it?
So, you know, I don't have that as yet because they were just working on that yesterday, but I think more than likely it might be at Pam's house, but you will get an email with that information. Just, it's September 22nd in the evening, same $15. And then the most important one, I hope that you can come, and please tell your fellow Rotarians who are not there today, is our last meeting and our very important meeting with the Candidates Forum on September 28th at the Crown Plaza. So I hope that all of you will come for that. And with that, with 1 minute to spare, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much to everyone.